How's it going, guys? My name's Wilson. Many of you might have heard Rockets GM Daryl Morey recently said it's factual. James Harden's a better scorer than Michael Jordan. One of the most ridiculous, stupid takes I have ever heard in today's NBA, combined with the analytics and lack of defense in today's game. Anybody who believes Harden's a better scorer than the GOAT MJ is an absolute fool, and you don't know your NBA history. I have the most upright respect for James Harden. He is one of the best offensive players I have ever seen. But saying that he's a better scorer than MJ, that's totally false and absolutely not true on all cylinders. So without further ado, let's take a dive and look at their numbers and compare the two.
Daryl Morey is one of the most intriguing GMs in the entire NBA, haven't won a championship yet, and making many of his decisions factoring analytics and the three-point shot, it hasn't helped his team get to the finals. He also went on to say, you give James Harden the ball, and before you're giving up the ball, how many points do you generate, which is how you should measure offense. James Harden is by far number one in NBA history. What? Did I just hear that correctly? At first I thought it was a joke. Hell to the absolute no! With how much the game has changed compared to 20 years ago, the early to late 90s was extremely defensive, with the pace being way slower, fewer possessions. In 98, Jordan's last season, the LA Lakers led the league in scoring, averaging 105.5 points. Flash forward to 2019, the Bucks led the league, averaging over 118 points. Only the bottom four teams scored less than the 98 Lakers. A 13-point difference between two of the highest scoring teams 21 years later, combined with the hand check and physicality of the 90s. Looking by the career stats, MJ's career averages of 30.1 points outweigh Harden's of 24.3 significantly. During his years with Chicago, MJ never averaged less than 26.9 points in any of those years except for his second season where he only played 18 games. Jordan had 8 seasons of averaging over 30 a game. If he didn't retire in 93, it would have easily been 10 seasons, while Harden didn't average over 30 a game until 2018. Michael Jordan also has 10 scoring titles, 7 of those by the age of 29. Harden at 2 at age 29, maybe he will get 1 or 2 more, but it's 100% proven Jordan was by far the best scorer for his era by a mile. Nobody even came close. Going by their highest scoring years, MJ led the league in points by a mile in 87, putting up averages of 37.1 points at age 23, where the entire offense was revolved around him. We don't have to mention about the defensive end, since there's no debate. Jordan's 100 times better than Harden at that area, shot over 48% from the field, compared to Harden's prime of 36.1 points on 44% shooting. Not to mention, Jordan got to the line almost 12 times that year, making over 10 free throws a game at almost 86%. Harden 11 times at the line, making almost 10 a game for 88%, where the defense was way more physical back then with hand checking. Harden flops on half his possessions, initiate contact. I give him the benefit of the doubt since he gets those calls. Harden also chucks up over 13 threes a game, making almost 5 of them. Because the three-point shot wasn't utilized in Jordan's era, MJ made a total of 12 threes that whole season. Harden 378. That's 1,098 more points alone from 3. In today's game, with the floor being spread out, MJ would have likely taken 4 to 6 triples a game, make around 2 a game on the same amount of shots. Will take even more shots given the pace of the game, giving him an average of over 40 points. By their highest scoring years, Jordan single-handedly outscored the second leading scorer by over 8 points, 29 a game in Dominique Wilkins. The same rate Harden outscored Paul George, 36.1 to 28 a game. The following year, Jordan averaged 35 at age 24, Wilkins 30.7. The time Harden was 24 years old in the 2013-14 season, his numbers of 25.4 points, 3.6 turnovers, was the 5th leading scorer behind Kevin Love, LeBron, Melo, and KD, who averaged 32 at the time. All 4 of them besides Love were better scorers than Harden. Age 25, 1989 Jordan, averages of 32.5 points, 3.6 turnovers on 53.5% shooting. Karl Malone, second leading scorer at over 29 a game. Nobody else averaged over 28, with MJ being on a 47-win team, while Harden in 2015 averaged 27.4 points on 44% shooting, 4 turnovers a game. MJ averaged 5 more points, no comparison there. 1990 Jordan, age 26, 33.6 points, Malone 31 a game, Harden 29 a game, behind Steph Curry's 30.1 points. Durant was 3rd at 28.2. Both Curry and Durant were way more efficient, played less minutes than Harden. Both shot 50% from the field, better from 3 and from the line than Harden. So you can easily make the argument Harden's not even the best scorer in his era, with guys like Durant and Curry who's on his level and arguably better offensively. 1991, MJ, age 27, put up 31.5 points on a 61-win team, shot 54% from the field, incredible numbers for a shooting guard, 2.5 turnovers. After many playoff disappointments, Harden's leadership continued to lack that season. MJ captured the title, Houston won 55 games in 2017, Harden averaged 29.1 points, second to Westbrook's 31.6 points. Even 5'9" Isaiah Thomas almost averaged as much as Harden did on better shooting numbers from all across 3 areas. Both guys aged 28. In 92, Jordan 30.1 points on 52% shooting on a 67-win team, 2.5 turnovers. Malone, the second leading scorer, 28 a game. Harden averaged more points playing under D'Antoni with increased production at 30.4 points on 45% shooting, making 265 threes. MJ made only 27 of them, 722 attempts compared to 100. I'll get to the playoff stats later. Both won MVP, one dominated everybody come winning time, and one choked. Harden's best season, age 29 in 2018-19, 36.1 points on 5 turnovers. Jordan in 93, 32.6 points, 2.7 turnovers. 53 wins compared to 57 wins. Jordan captured his 3rd straight title. Harden still ringless. Harden did have a little better scoring numbers in 2018 and 2019 compared to Jordan in 93 and 92 in the regular season, of course, but Harden's head coach only implements offense, doesn't really care much about defense. MJ didn't go out there and try to score every point, he just wanted to beat you. In my past videos, I've been saying James Harden's been the best regular season player for the last 3 years, and I stand by that, but being the best scorer doesn't mean you only show up in the regular season, but you have to show up in the postseason. MJ was already by far the best scorer by his 3rd season, while there's debates when Harden wasn't even in the conversation as well of the elite scorers until 2017. Kevin Durant was easily better before that, and there's still a debate between Harden, Durant, Steph, and LeBron. The second all-time leading scorer in Karl Malone never won a scoring title, finished second in scoring 5 different times, all behind Michael Jordan. While Harden's been the first option on his team since 2013, averaged 25 plus 7 times before age 30, Michael Jordan averaged 30 plus 7 times before age 30. Now let's take a look at the playoff numbers. Jordan's averages of 33.4 points, 6.4 rebounds, 5.7 assists on almost 49% shooting, 3 turnovers, a million times better on defense. Harden's time with the Rockets, 28.2 points, 5.7 rebounds, 7 assists on 41% shooting, 4.5 turnovers. Pretty good numbers, but Jordan never averaged under 29 a game in any of his 13 seasons in the playoffs. Harden only averaged above 29 a game once in his 7 postseasons with Houston. That should end the argument right there, but let's provide more data so Daryl Morey can look more like a fool. Age 23, Harden 26.3 points on 39% shooting, going up against Kevin Durant averaging 32.5 points on 48.5% shooting. Outscored Harden 5 of the 6 games, no contest. Jordan put up 35.7 points a game against a way better Celtics team. Age 24, Harden shot under 38% from the field in the 6 games against Portland, where Houston was the favorite, averaged 26.8 points, was outscored and outplayed by LaMarcus Aldridge's 29.8 points, and Damian Lillard shot 47% from the field on 25.5 point averages. LA was certainly better than Harden, and you can even argue Lillard was as well that series. MJ meanwhile averaged 36.3 points on 53% shooting in 10 games, no contest there. The following years, Harden 2015, MJ 89. Both played 17 games. Harden 27.2 points on 44% shooting. Jordan 34.8 points on 51% shooting. MJ outscored him by almost 8 points. Not to mention, in the elimination game in Game 5 against Golden State, Harden was absolutely pathetic. 14 points, 12 turnovers on 2 of 11 shooting. 2 of 11! Michael Jordan never scored below 15 points in any of his 179 total playoff games. Harden 2016 got destroyed by Golden State in 5 games, put up 26.6 points on 41% shooting, underperformed compared to the regular season, while Jordan elevated his play in 1990, 36.7 points, over 51% shooting, averaged 10 whole points better than Harden. That's not even comparable right there. Of those 17 games, MJ never scored under 20 in any one of them. Harden scored below 20 in 2 of those 5 games, shot under 40% in 3 of those games, more times than Jordan shot below 40%. MJ also played 3 times the amount of playoff games played compared to Harden that year. MJ in 91, 31.1 points on 52.5% shooting in 17 games. Harden 2017, 28.5 points on 41% shooting in 11 games, 2.5 turnovers for MJ, 5.5 for Harden. Harden had 3 games scoring below 20 points. Jordan, none. Not to mention the fact that Harden was an absolute travesty at all levels in Game 6 at home against the Spurs. No Kawhi Leonard, the best defensive player in the league, no Tony Parker, down 3-2, no excuses, going a pathetic 2 of 11, 10 points, getting blown out at home against a short-handed Spurs team by 39 points, 114-75. Absolutely awful. Harden was a -28 and looked mentally defeated after getting blocked by Ginobili in Game 5. Just imagine if Michael Jordan scored 10 points, losing this badly in a playoff game. Everybody would have lost their minds. That'd be impossible. MJ in 92, 34.5 points on 50% shooting in 22 games, one of the best playoff runs all time. Harden in 2018, below his regular season averages, put up 28.6 points, 41% shooting in 17 playoff games. MJ scored 42 in the elimination game in Game 7 against the Knicks, while Harden did play well but didn't elevate his game after CP3's injury, scored 32 points in both Game 6 and 7 against Golden State, going a combined 6 of 25 from 3, failed to get the job done. And last but not least, MJ in 93, 35.1 points, 19 games, Harden 31.6 points, 11 games, 47.5% shooting compared to 41.5. Once again, Jordan increased his production in the playoffs while Harden's point production declined by more than 4 compared to the regular season. MJ averaged a ridiculous 41 points in the finals. Harden's playoff high in 2019 was 41 in Game 3 against Golden State. The fact that Kevin Durant went down with injury in Game 5, Harden was absolutely passive, scoring 5 total points in the fourth quarter. In the final 10 minutes with the game on the line, got outplayed by Steph and Clay, just didn't have it in him. Was also outplayed by the Splash Brothers in the second half of Game 6. Despite playing solid, Harden didn't dominate like he was supposed to, while Michael Jordan simply destroyed everybody. I almost didn't even want to mention the fact that Harden averaged 12.4 points on under 38% shooting in the 2012 finals at age 22, scored in single digits 3 of those 5 games. OKC likely would have won if he played better. A combined 62 points in 5 games. MJ in his second ever postseason outscored Harden in 1 game against Boston in '86 than Harden had the entire finals. Under the D'Antoni system, Harden has the freedom to do what he wants, literally runs the point, plays iso ball, and has a chance to make every single play, while Jordan in the 90s played under the triangle and Phil Jackson, where there were a lot of ball movement, played to his absolute strength, didn't have to bring up the ball as much. Despite Harden having a higher usage rate, dominating in the regular season, where most teams don't even play defense in today's game, the only thing Harden does better than Jordan is his step back 3-point shot. Everything else, from slashing to the basket, playing without the ball, playing in transition, above the rim, post up, you name it, Michael Jordan's better than James Harden at. While many have also forgotten, MJ averaged 8 assists in '89 under head coach Doug Collins, played way more efficiently to win, and was never stat chasing. Combined with the fact that Harden gets the benefit of the doubt playing in Mike D'Antoni's system, who makes every ball-dominant floor general better. Steve Nash, for example, went from a star to a superstar overnight. Some even argue Nash wouldn't even have been a Hall of Famer if it wasn't for D'Antoni's system. Even average role player Chris Duhon averaged over 7 assists starting for D'Antoni in '09. Linsanity happened under D'Antoni. If D'Antoni was utilizing Jordan in today's game, he would simply average over 40 a game, hit more 3-pointers, dish out about 10 assists, get to the line a dozen times, and being way more efficient than Harden ever will. And with Harden taking huge steps, getting away with controversial non-travel calls, and constantly flopping to draw fouls in the regular season, you wonder why his playoff production isn't the same once faced against better defense with tighter officiating. Anybody who still believes Harden's a better scorer than Michael Jordan is an absolute fool. Not only is Daryl Morey's take absurd, but absolutely disrespectful to the GOAT. Harden can bring up the ball and create all the plays he wants, but he hasn't even dropped 50 once in the playoffs yet and keeps coming up short. It doesn't matter if Harden averages 50 in the regular season. The ultimate goal is to win a championship, and with Harden scoring, he still hasn't proven his team can win a championship with him as the #1 guy. Constantly underperforming and getting bounced in May, Harden will have to prove himself this coming season, and I'm not being too critical on Harden. It'd be amazing if he's able to win a title, but he hasn't proven that yet. All these numbers in the regular season and playoffs until age 29 between the two proves it is absolutely fiction. That Harden's a better scorer than Michael Jordan, absolutely laughable at this point, especially for a guy who got outplayed time and time again in the playoffs. Even during MJ's younger days, he was always the best player on the floor. Every single playoff series he played, in some of the biggest games, Harden had more turnovers than field goals. How the heck do you explain that? If you had to depend on one guy to score as many points as possible for one game and win in any era to save your life, give me Michael Jordan over James Harden 24/7, 365, 1 million out of a million times, no question about that.
If any of you guys are still not convinced Michael Jordan's a better scorer than James Harden, then I just can't help you. What Daryl Morey said is one of the dumbest things I have ever heard about basketball. Thank you so much for watching this video. I talk NBA comparisons, amazing storylines, NBA history, and anything basketball that will interest you. If you love the NBA, subscribe for more content, more great stuff coming soon. I love all of you. See you next time.